Hello, I'm Shelley Hogers, and I am going to be sharing with you the Rule of St Benedict, which is actually by St Benedict. Who was St Benedict? Well, he was living in Italy, late 5th and early to mid 6th centuries, and was a student of the Bible. At age 19 or 20, he left school because he was upset with the paganistic tendencies of Rome. And so he went to live in a cave about 30 miles east of Rome, and he lived in a cave by himself as a hermit for about 3 years. During that time, there was a group of monks who lived nearby that cave, and they knew of him, and they asked if he would come to their monastery to be their abbot. And the abbot is the person who is the head of the monastery. Legend has it that they had so many disagreements with him that they actually tried to poison him. The legend goes that they first attempted to poison him in his drink, and before he could take a sip from the cup shattered. They then tried to poison him with a piece of bread, and before he could eat that piece of bread, a bird came and swooped down and took the piece of bread and flew away with it. So, obviously, because of their differences, he left, but he did not leave monasticism. He actually founded 12 monasteries of about 12 monks each, and ultimately he founded the great Benedictine monastery of Monte Cassino. This piece of literature that he wrote, the Rule of St Benedict, can also just be called the Rule, and it is made up of 73 very short chapters. It's actually very easy to read this entire thing in one sitting, and within those chapters there is spiritual wisdom and also administrative wisdom. The spiritual wisdom deals with how to live a Christ-centered life, and the administrative wisdom deals with how to properly run a monastery. More than half the chapters in the Rule discuss humility and obedience, and this is a very prominent theme throughout the entire piece of literature. In fact, the monks were often reminded through the Rule that obedience to the abbot is equivalent with obedience to Christ. 1/4 of the Rule regulates the work of God, and this would be work as in proper physical labor. And 2 of the chapters in the Rule describe the abbot's pastoral duties and his responsibilities as a father to the monks. I would like to read for you an excerpt from chapter 31, and chapter 31 is Qualifications of the Monastery Cellarer. The cellarer is the person who is in charge of all the food and drink at the monastery. And if you have your book with you and you'd like to follow along, I will be beginning on page 54. So chapter 31, Qualifications of the Monastery Cellarer. As cellarer of the monastery, there should be chosen from the community someone who is wise, mature in conduct, temperate, not an excessive eater, not proud, excitable, offensive, dilatory, or wasteful, but God-fearing, and like a father to the whole community. He will take care of everything, but will do nothing without an order from the abbot. Let him keep to his orders. He should not annoy the brothers. If any brother happens to make an unreasonable demand of him, he should not reject him with disdain and cause him distress, but reasonably and humbly deny the improper request. Let him keep watch over his own soul, ever mindful of that saying of the apostle, "He who serves well secures a good standing for himself." He must show every care and concern for the sick, children, guests, and the poor, knowing for certain that he will be held accountable for all of them on the day of judgment. He will regard all utensils and goods of the monastery as sacred vessels of the altar, aware that nothing is to be neglected. He should not be prone to greed, nor be wasteful and extravagant with the goods of the monastery, but should do everything with moderation and according to the abbot's orders. Now, this is just chapter 31, and there are guidelines for every type of work, for studying, for prayer. I pulled up from the web a sample of a typical day in the life of the Benedictine monastery. Now, although St. Benedict did not give exact times when these things should happen, he did give guidelines as far as what percentage of your time in the day or what percentage of your time throughout the year should be spent in such things as prayer, in chores and work, in meditation, reflection on Scripture, reading of Scripture. He allotted a certain amount of time for personal time and recreational gathering. But as you can see, their days are pretty regulated. So why is the Rule of St Benedict important today, and why is it such an important Christian piece of literature? Well, first of all, the rule is used in nearly every Western monastery, even to this day. And because of that, St. Benedict is actually known as the father of Western monasticism. The rule reminds all of us as Christians that our actions matter, and it encourages Christ-like character. Things such as avoiding idleness, humility, cheerful obedience, submission of our own will for that of the good of the community or to that of Christ, and finally, a lot in there about practicing hospitality. I do believe that people are called to live life in a monastery. Obviously, I don't believe that's something for everyone, but I think that we are indebted to St. Benedict for focusing on Christ-like character in his rule. Thank you.